What's up, everybody? This is the MOBC, my own boxing community. Of course, I want to talk about this huge announcement with Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. Um, before I get into that, I just want to say um, I don't support what Jake Paul is doing in terms of his own boxing career. So please, I don't want to. I don't. Please don't ask me any questions about Jake Paul. I get messages all the time, private messages. Am I going to talk about Jake Paul and what do I think about Jake Paul? I don't have anything to say about Jake Paul. All right. I'm happy for the fighters who get an opportunity, to fight under his banner. But in terms of his own career in boxing and what he's doing for boxing, I don't care about it. If you guys feel like he's a cruiserweight, if you guys feel like he could beat this fighter and that fighter, and if you guys feel like he's improving, so be it. It just shows how the mindset of boxing fans today are and how easily manipulated this generation of boxing fans could be. Not here at the MOBC, not at all. I don't have anything positive to say about Jake Paul and his boxing journey. With that being said, this is a dangerous fight for Devin Haney, and you also have to give credit where credit is due. Devin Haney is one of those fighters who gets a lot of hate because of what his father does, and his father's job is to sell Devin Haney as a fighter, and it seems to be working. And the father is playing the bad guy role. However, Devin Haney gets criticized and hated on, and they hate his father. I could care less what Devin Haney's father is doing. I don't care about what Devin Haney's father is talking about. I don't care about the smack that he talks about. I don't care about this quote-unquote Devin Haney's supposedly alleged domestic dispute. I don't care about anything that's going on other than what's going on in terms of the sport of boxing. Here at the MOBC, we do not condone gossip, and we don't talk about, this isn't TMZ. I saw a comment where somebody had said, Devin Haney and his alleged domestic dispute is boxing news. No, it is not boxing news. That is his personal news. I don't care about that. What's important is Devin Haney has a fight coming up with someone who is potentially the hardest puncher at 147. All right? Potentially. And dangerous. Now, you're only good as your last fight, okay? You're only good as your last fight, as they say, okay? Now, I know that Brian Norman Jr. has had issues with what we saw with him fighting that kid Quentin Randall was one of the guys. I think he went 12 rounds with that dude Jesus Campos. And so those are good wins, but you saw that there was, maybe he's green, to fighting fighters with that style, with that boxing style. But we have to say, if we're going based off boxing skills and experience, Devin Haney is a lot better boxer than Quentin Randall and Jesus Campos. All right, he is. It's just a fact. He is. Now, these guys are welterweights, though. All right, but Devin Haney is a big salute. UGC Flame, salute. Y'all subscribe to UGC Flame. So Brian Norman Jr. is a natural welterweight. Okay, now Devin Haney is a big lightweight. He was also a big 140-pounder. Fighting Brian Norman Jr., he's going into the territory of actually fighting in a true welterweight weight class, right? Not some type of catchweight with Ramirez or Ryan Garcia. Okay. And again, you're only good as your last fight. Now I know people is talking about when that young kid Boychik dropped Norman. That was a weird fight. It was an ugly fight. Boychik got the long arms. There was elbows being thrown. There was headbutts there. You know, you get caught. You got caught. He got caught. Norman got caught. He got dropped. Fighters get dropped all the time, especially early in their career. And these are the things that shape you up. These are learning experiences. All right? You got to understand, the two or three guys who Brian Norman fought before Boychuk, they had better records than Boychuk. Better records. More knockout. A couple of them had more knockouts also as well. Right? These things happen. Boychuk is not, by looking at his record, he's not a big puncher. These things happen and you learn from it. And it's not like, oh, Brian Norman went backwards. The guys that he fought after that had better records than Boychuk. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take an easy touch after this no contest. No, he went on to fight, when you look at it on paper, better opposition than Boychuk. Right? Better opposition than Boychuk. And all of these fights ended in a stoppage. All right? These are the key things. It ended in a stoppage. Salute Haplo. Right? These are the key things that you guys have to understand. Remember, the two guys prior to fighting Boychuk, they had better records than Boychuk. The two guys after Boychuk, they had better records. Right? Now, that doesn't mean that they're better fighters than Boychuk. I'm just saying on paper, Brian Norman Jr. didn't step backwards. He stepped forward. All right? Now, fast forward to Devin Haney. Devin Haney is way more experienced. Way more experienced in terms of fighting in the bright lights and fighting better opposition. And I know it's in a different weight class. But you have to call a spade, right? So he fought Lomachenko, all right? That's a better opponent than anyone Norman has faced. He fought Linares. It's a better opponent than anyone Norman has faced, right? Right? And we can say Prograis was past his prime. You can say Prograis was in wars. Still a better opponent than anyone Brian Norman has faced. And you could even put Kambosos in there because Kambosos beat someone who I believe at the time was in talks of being on the pound for pound list in beating Tio. And Haney beat him twice. Okay? Now, fast forward, he fights Ryan Garcia. We know the situation with Ryan Garcia. There's no need to break down what happened with that. He fought a cheater. It is what it is. I don't want to hear about, oh, he should have fought his fight, or he should have been boxing, or why did you hook with the hooker? No. He fought someone who was cheating. And if the guy wasn't cheating, for all we know, the fight that Devin Haney was fighting was the right fight, except it wasn't because he fought a cheater. End of story. All right? End of story. So, after Ryan Garcia, he fights Ramirez. Now, on paper, Ramirez, you could argue, was a better fighter than Ryan Garcia, right? Ryan Garcia's never been a world champion, never beat any champions. You know, he lost, right? He lost to Tank Davis. You know, he got dropped. I forgot the guy's name. What was it? Campbell? Was it Luke Campbell? I can't remember. But he got dropped, but then he weathered the storm because of his size, all right? But then he lost to Rolly Romero, who they picked as an easy opponent because they thought it was a guaranteed win so they could set up Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, and he lost, all right? What I'm getting at is, did Haney progress. Did he fight someone better than Ryan Garcia, or was Ramirez an easy touch? Well, if you watch the fight, Devin Haney fought off the back foot. Some say he ran. Okay? No matter how you, however you describe it, Devin Haney won the fight. End of story. He won the fight. If it was boring, so what? He won the fight. He didn't throw a lot of punches, so what? He won the fight. Okay? And clearly looked like a true welterweight in there. All right? Even with the heavier weight and the heavier rehydration, Devin Haney is still moving on the back foot without getting tired as he did as a lightweight. All right? Now, Haney has had a size advantage over most of his opponents. All right? When he fought someone his size, we saw trouble there, right? One being the cheater, and with Ramirez made him fight off the back foot, but Ramirez wasn't fighting either. You can't place blame on one guy. Don't just put the blame on Haney. You guys already blamed Haney and criticized Haney for fighting a cheater, didn't criticize the cheater. And now you're criticizing Haney, not criticizing the guy who barely cut off the ring, barely threw any punches. Can't blame Haney for that. So this is a good fight and a dangerous fight for Devin Haney. And you got to give credit where credit is due. This guy has always been a legacy fighter. Always. No matter how you put it. No matter how you thought the results was with Lomachenko. He beat Lomachenko, became an undisputed champion. He's been under the bright lights. He's been in the big venues. All right? He's been under pressure. Okay? He's been in the wars. He's fought and traveled in other countries and won. Something a lot of American boxers aren't doing. So you got to give Devin Haney credit where credit is due. If you don't like his father, that's one thing. That's your problem. I could care less about Devin Haney's father. I don't care what his father is doing. I don't care what his father is saying. I don't care how his father acts with all the pimp talk and the slick talk. None of that flies over here at the MOBC. We only focus on the fighter. And you got to give credit where credit is due. All right? Devin Haney is not only fighting the best opposition that he possibly can, he gets criticized for having a glass straw, and now he's going in there with another puncher. You got to call a spade. Straight up. You feel me? You know, bro, have you ever seen this guy work? Man, salute y'all. So you got to call a spade, and I don't care what anyone says. Devin Haney is proven to everyone that he is willing to fight the best opposition out there. And he's not ducking. And we're talking about him going in there with someone who's going to match his size, match his strength, with more punching power. A guy that's coming off of 3 stoppages in a row. Won a brutal KO. Now, everyone is saying, well, who was Sasaki? Sasaki was coming off of 4 or 5 straight knockout wins. All right? He's a good puncher. Probably a bigger puncher than Devin Haney. Probably a bigger puncher than Rolly, for all we know. We don't know. But we do know that he was on a stoppage spree. And Brian Norman weathered the storm, put him out. Dangerous fight for Devin Haney. So this is a very good fight. And it's one of those fights where, well, what is Brian Norman going to do with someone who is obviously going to be fighting off the back foot? Not only is Devin Haney going to fight off the back foot, Devin Haney is physically strong. And we saw Brian Norman in some boxing, some of his boxing matches. He imposes also some physical strength, right? The Boachukka fight was an ugly fight. I think that fight went like, what, three or four? I think it went 3 rounds, and then it was declared a no contest. I mean, if the fight would have went past 4 rounds, and then they would have stopped it because of the accidental headbutt. Boychecker would have won the fight on the cards. So some may say, oh, well, they saved him. They saved him. I don't know. The cut on Boychecker's eye was bad. So this is a dangerous fight. And Devin Haney is now proven once again that he is still willing to go in there and fight the punchers. Now, in the Ramirez fight, it did look like he was gun shy. It did look like he was nervous about getting hit. Well, he's coming off of a fight that was a tough fight, competitive fight. He got dropped twice, 3 times if you want to count one of the drop knockdowns, but still in all, he was in there with a ped user, a cheater. So you have to give Haney his credit where credit is due. Okay? He is willing to go in there and fight the best. Hey, listen, everyone wanted to see Boots and Brian Norman get it on. Boots can't make the weight anymore. Boots can't make the weight anymore. Haney is there now. Haney is stepping forward again. He's could potentially win another title, and who knows? Who knows? He could fight the winner out of Manny Pacquiao and Barrios for all we know. I don't know, but I'm liking what Haney is doing. Listen, his father said the game plan was to box. Move, and box, right? We wasn't expecting Haney to be in an all-out brawl with Ramirez, right? You got to fight your fight. Use your talent in what you're good at. Okay? Use what you're good at. You know, there's a lot of guys that criticize Haney. Oh, he's just running. Oh, he's just running. You know, he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to engage. You're just mad because he's not fighting how you want him to fight, because you feel like if he fights a certain way, he'll lose that way. Get mad at the guy who can't catch Devin Haney. Get mad at the guy who can't cut off the ring. Get mad at the guy who's not closing the distance and closing the gap and making it a dirty fight, making it an inside fight. Get mad at that guy. Don't get mad at Haney for fighting his fight and being smart. This isn't a street fight. Yeah, the fight was boring to me too. I don't care. I'm going to watch it still. The Ramirez fight was boring. So what? He won. He won. And he had all his faculties intact after the fight. Whereas Sasaki wanted to go out there in an all-out brawl and got knocked out. You got to have a game plan, and you have to be smart. And no matter how you don't like Devin Haney's father, no matter how you hate whatever personal problem you got with him, he's training his son correctly. And he's calling in the right people for help. Again, bad game plan against Ryan Garcia, but at the same time, we don't know if it was the right game plan, because he fought a cheater who had extra pep in his step to help him have more speed, more power. Okay? Osterine is used as a masking agent for steroids. Stop defending Ryan Garcia because you hate Devin Haney's father, you chumps. I'm going to start blocking some of y'all out there who keep defending Ryan Garcia. Some of you dudes that I'm cool with, I see any of y'all defending, I'm blocking y'all. Here at the MOBC, we don't condone cheaters. I don't care who it is. Period. You guys are accusing Devin Haney of using banned substances, and hey, listen, it's justified. I mean, you can get the criticism. I joke about Snack all the time, but he's passing the test, and you guys are criticizing someone who was passing the test more than the people who failed the test. I don't see any videos out there slandering Munguia the way you guys slander Devin Haney, who keeps testing negative. Don't play with me. This is the MOBC, my own boxing community, and I don't condone cheating. We don't condone cheating. UGC Flame, Black Horseman, we don't condone cheating. My bro, Boxing Jedi, don't condone cheating. Haplo, none of us condone cheating. And we saw what happened when the testing was properly done. Ryan Garcia got beat by somebody who got beat by a 5'3" midget that they call a damn pit bull who throws one hook at a time with a stupid high guard. Looping hook after looping hook, nothing else. One-dimensional Ortiz beat Rolly, and Ryan Garcia couldn't beat Rolly. Don't play with the MOBC at all. Don't play with us over here. Period. I don't know, that bill maybe not be helping as much. If you want to drop the link, I'm happy to explain. I definitely don't condone cheating. Well, I don't know about the whole. I can't drop a link on I'm on my phone. I don't know. For me, Devin Haney, I don't see how Devin Haney, Bill Haney is doing anything wrong. The only mishap that they had was with the cheating scumbag. Prior to that, he was able to beat Kambosos in his backyard. He was able to beat Lomachenko no matter how we all see it. In my opinion, I thought Lomachenko won. Go to BoxRec, Devin Haney won. So Devin Haney beat Lomachenko. He beat Linares. Linares, past his prime, still was a game fighter. Okay? He beat Prograis. So I don't see anything wrong with what Bill Haney is doing. Again, we got to separate Bill Haney's antics. If you from the hood, you know what time it is with how Bill Haney is. It's a heck of dudes out there in our hoods that's like Bill Haney. On the basketball court, on the football court, in the dice games. You know what I'm saying? That's what Bill Haney is. He's doing exactly the proper thing. Now, in my opinion, I believe Devin Haney should get a new head trainer. But as far as guiding his son and doing the right things, the only mishap was with Ryan Garcia. And I'm sorry, the guy tested positive for banned substance. There's nothing more I can say about that. What Bill is doing is wrong in my opinion. He's speaking too much and not letting his son speak. Okay, so let me speak on that Haplo. Again, you guys got to understand. Bill Haney is doing what he doesn't want his son to do. See, if his son was acting like Bill Haney and then he started losing, you guys would all talk smack about him. See, everybody is looking at Bill Haney and what he's doing is different. He's selling his son. That's all he's doing. Doesn't matter if he's not the fighter. Schofield Sr. is doing the same thing. These guys are copying the page out of the book, out of Danny Garcia's father. Again, you separate what Bill Haney is doing. Devin Haney don't got to do nothing but talk in the press conference and fight. That's it. That's it. Yeah, he's selling his son. You got to sell your fight. You guys wanted him to fighters to be a mute? Yeah, he's selling his son. That's why the guy is in pay-per-view fights. You feel me? That's why he's in pay-per-view fights. You don't see Tank Davis don't got that in his life, right? So he puts out stupid tweets. And he gets on Twitter. So these guys he's selling his son. That's what you got to do. You got to sell your son. That's what it is. Hey, I hear you, Haplo. It is what it is. But back to Devin Haney. Devin Haney is showing what a lot of fighters aren't doing. And they're willing to fight the best out there. And shout out to Brian Norman. Listen, he doesn't have to take this fight soon. And, you know, he's a world champion. But at the end of the day, is he a green champion? He's never faced someone with the boxing skills and the experience like Devin Haney. But on the flip side, Devin Haney is going in there with a guy that could clip you with one shot. And this is very dangerous. This could be one of those fights where Devin Haney wins in the process. It wins, but in the process takes a beating. This could be one of those fights where Brian Norman is looking for one shot and can't land the shot and get outboxed. It's always I love the contrast in styles. In my opinion, the best boxing matches for me, in my opinion, is always the boxer versus the brawler. You get two different styles, and these guys got to go in there and think. And Devin Haney is going to make Norman think. Devin Haney is going to give him some things he hasn't seen before. But on the flip side, Devin Haney the whole time got to worry about getting clipped with one shot. Let's be real. Could it be the weight cut? I don't know. But Devin Haney, allegedly, a lot of fans believe he's a little chinny. And he's going in there with a dangerous puncher, with a dangerous left hook. It may not be as fast as Ryan Garcia's left hook, but I can tell you right now that left hook got a lot more power into it. A lot more power into it. What's up, Mr. Big Play Bray? Keep dropping boxing knowledge, man. Have to get back to work. Catch you on the next. Oh, man, it's all good, man. Mr. Big Play Bray, man. Always a pleasure to see you here, man. Always a pleasure to see you here. So, yeah, man, Devin Haney is, listen, man, like I said, Devin Haney is doing what a lot of fighters aren't doing. Devin Haney is doing what we want to see. And to have a fight like this, we could potentially have a Chavez versus Purnell, Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor. There's no telling. There's no telling how this fight could be. This fight could turn out to be like Oscar De La Hoya in Trinidad, right? We don't know, because I can tell you right now, if Devin Haney outboxes, let's say, Norman, the early rounds and some of the mid rounds, he's probably going to coast and run the last 2 rounds, right? Like Oscar De La Hoya did with Trinidad. He's probably going to coast. So be prepared for that. But also be prepared for Norman coming in there and do what he got to do. Listen, they got to have a game plan. They got to cut off that ring. They got to close the distance. Haney is going to try to have established mad distance, y'all. We listen, I said this earlier. Haney gave us the prequel of how he's probably going to fight from here on out in the rest of his career with Ramirez. So don't expect Haney to be in all-out brawls, if he could help it. Don't expect him to be fighting like he fought Kambosos, like he fought Prograis. I believe after the Ryan Garcia fight and what we saw with Ramirez, that's probably the Devin Haney that we're going to get. Okay? That's probably the Devin Haney that we're going to get. And like I said, Brian Norman Jr., he got those one-hitter quitters. He do. He got one-hitter quitters. Also, he kind of don't have to worry about Devin Haney's power. Unless, Devin Haney could, somehow get some better technique down, maybe work on strength training, maybe, punch heavier, heavy bags, practice on power shots. You're born with power, but you can still teach him to have better technique, to have better pop, is what I'm saying. Facts. He's in there with another hooker, one shot, and it could be adios. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So you got to listen, man, a lot of people don't like Devin Haney, especially the fans out there who were fanboying for Lomachenko. Again, I'm not a fanboy for Lomachenko. I don't even think Lomachenko is a Hall of Famer. Doesn't have a lot of fights, and he has 3 losses. But I do think he's one of the best fighters of this era. And I do think that he could be talks in ATG conversation somewhat. I don't know. I'm not a fan of fighters not having a lot of fights, okay? But I will say I thought he beat Devin Haney. But people who feel like Devin Haney really won and he got the victory have no issue with that. Because Lomachenko, you kind of slept around in the early rounds. And it's a 10-point must system in scoring. All right? So you know how it goes. What's up, 1-2 kid, man? Salute. Salute, that must be a good stream. I think Haney would benefit from moving up. I suspect with more weight, his chin and power would improve. It's a risk take, though. Yeah, see, that's what we're all thinking. Could it be that the weight cut all those years in the weight bullying, all those years in the, losing the weight, dehydrating and then having to rehydrate, could that hurt him? Also, did he wait too long to move up? Did he wait too long, and will those constant years of losing the weight still affect him? Brian Norman is a dangerous puncher, y'all. Yeah, he's fighting somewhat subpar competition, but it's just like Wilder, right? Wilder was fighting somewhat subpar competition. Still, that right hand is dangerous. I mean, it is what it is. We got to call a spade a spade. We got to call a spade a spade. And I think that since Boots claimed that he couldn't make the weight, if you can't make the weight, okay, let's see what you're going to do at 154. Because we wanted to see Brian Norman and Boots get busy, you feel me, and fight each other. But that's okay. Now we're getting Devin Haney and Brian Norman, which I think is a good fight as well. I think it's a perfect fight. And it's also going to be one of those fights where if Haney is able to win and pull out a victory in this fight, it will also shut out a lot of critics. Again, Devin Haney has a better resume than Shakur Stevenson, better resume than Tank Davis, better resume than Keyshawn Davis, better resume than Ryan Garcia, better resume than a lot of these guys. This is a better resume than Boots. So you got to call a spade a spade. And low-key, Rolly Romero probably might be second in those lower weight classes with a better resume. You know what I'm saying? Been saying Ryan is a druggie for years. No one listened. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I remember that. He's smoking that weed and him and his ashwagandha and all this old crap. Nah, man, you was masking something. And you're a racist. Until the juice box fell out the robe. Hey, man, for real, man. Hey, straight up, man. Hey, y'all, man, I got to go, man. Y'all catch the playback if you came in late, man. And thank y'all for coming on, man. Everybody, y'all, salute to subscribe to 1-2 Kid. If all you got to do is go on, if you see the live, the replay, just hit double tap on 1-2 Kid's name. Go to the channel and then hit subscribe. Go to UGC Flame. Hit the channel page on here and go subscribe. And if Haplo, you can subscribe to Haplo too. Sometimes he makes videos. He hasn't in a while. But y'all subscribe. Y'all subscribe to 1-2 Kid. Y'all subscribe to UGC Flame. Y'all subscribe to Haplotype, all right? Also, subscribe to the MOBC right here. Rossclock 222. Salute. All right, I'm out.